So welcome everyone, thank you for joining us. Really happy to see so many people joining us today. We've got a really packed session ahead. I'm really happy to have Anna Morrison, CBE Director of Amazing Apprenticeships, as our main speaker today. Just to give you a bit of context as to why we're doing today's session, through the recent data that we've collected through Compass and the Gatsby Benchmarks, we found that 38% of schools are currently working with independent training providers. Obviously, all schools and colleges in Hertfordshire share information on higher education establishments, but we found that only 40% of schools are currently providing 2 visits or more to higher education establishments. It's great to see that over time, we're now up to 86% of schools providing information on apprenticeships, but that's converting to 29% of students wanting to apply to apprenticeships and only 8% actually applying to apprenticeships. So there's definitely some more work that can be done, and we're hoping that today's session will also help with that. So within the workshop, we're going to find out about Gatsby Benchmark 7 and give you hints and tips on how to achieve that benchmark. We're also going to find out about the different post-16 and 18 options, including apprenticeships, independent training providers, further education and higher education providers, and help you understand a little bit more about what an independent training provider is. And along the way, we're going to hear some great information from Anna about local and national picture around apprenticeships, vocational and technical pathways. So I will start very shortly, just talking to you a little bit about Gatsby Benchmark 7 and the hints and tips around that. We'll then hand over to resident expert Anna to hear about apprenticeships, a little bit on T-levels, vocational qualifications. Then we'll bring in some of the independent training providers, and we'll hear from Anna from KEITS, and we'll hear from Tanya, Baney from Hart Learning and Development, and Charlie Clark from SSG. And then we'll also hear from one of the local FE colleges, Hertford Regional, with Phil Line. Depending on how we're doing for time, we'll definitely have a questions segment after Anna's session and after we've heard from the other guest speakers. And if there's a bit more time at the end, we'll do a little bit of discussion around how you could use the information that you've heard today. As we go along, if you could keep your camera off when you're not talking, but if you want to ask a question or get involved in the discussion, please feel free to put your camera on at that point. And also same with your microphone, if you don't mind having that on mute when you're not talking, but if you're asking a question or getting involved, please feel free to come off mute. Thank you, guys. And just to give you a bit of background as to us and the Careers Hub and our team for working on the Careers and Enterprise here in Hertfordshire. Gareth Dace is now the Careers Hub Strategic Lead. I'm working as the Careers Hub Operations Lead. My name's Steve Trotter, and I'm also supporting the Welland Hatfield schools and some of the East Hertfordshire schools. We've got a new Enterprise Coordinator in Chris Doughton covering Broxbourne and surrounding areas. Debbie Laff starts next week, supporting the Stevenage, North Herts and Hertford schools. We've got Shay Costello now working in Watford, Three Rivers and Hertsmere, and then long-standing members of staff Leslie Leggett covering St Albans and Dacorum, and we're really lucky to have a specialist SEND enterprise coordinator in Jackie Gascoigne working with the schools around the county. Those of you that have been with us for a while, either as a careers leader or as an enterprise advisor, particularly those in Stevenage, North Herts, Welland and Hatfield, will know that in 2019 we were really lucky to get our first part of Careers Hub in Cluster 1. Last year, Watford, Three Rivers and Hertsmere came on board. And then this year, we'll have some fresh people amongst us today that are careers leaders or enterprise advisors for St Albans and Dacorum schools, or Broxbourne and East Hart schools and colleges as well. So really happy to have whole Hertfordshire Careers Hub coverage now. It means that we're able to do things like this afternoon, where we're able to do some workshops of sharing best practice. And I'll show you some details of other ones coming up this academic year a bit later on in the session. And it just means that we can all share best practice and get involved a bit more strategically with each other when it comes to careers in Hertfordshire, which is fantastic. We're here, as always, to build networks, and we're always supporting the careers leaders through backing the Gatsby benchmarks. We've had a new chief executive start recently called Ollie de Botton, who's come from an East London school as a head, where he put employability and careers front and centre in the work that he did there. He's also really passionate around equal access for all and overcoming barriers. So this kind of message will start to come through our work more and more over the next year to 18 months. Some of the main things that we're working on over the next year or so is amplifying technical and vocational routes, which is exactly why we're running this workshop this afternoon. The self-improving system is continuing to back the Gatsby benchmarks, which all of you are helping us with, which we're really pleased about. In Stevenage, North Hertfordshire, Welwyn and Hatfield, we've got an effective transition fund working with year 10 free school meal students. And that's helping with removing barriers and giving them extra mentoring and access to further education providers and employers. And we're hoping if that's successful, then that might roll out further within the county in the future. We're still involved in and actively helping careers leaders get real high quality qualifications. So we've got a bursary for any careers leaders interested in a level 6 qualification in careers leadership. And we've also renewed our short careers leader course, which is now on the Careers Enterprise website if you're interested. And along the way, the whole reason we're doing this is to help build long-term sustainable, mutually beneficial partnerships between schools, colleges and employers, and help with the Hertfordshire economic recovery post-Brexit pandemic. Gareth Dace, our careers strategic lead, he is working on our strategic plan at the moment, but there's a real emphasis on amplifying technical and vocational routes within that strategic plan. So just wanted to sort of share some headlines with you there, where we're aiming to raise awareness of the changing landscape of technical and vocational routes. We want to make you a bit more aware of the rollout of T-levels, but sort of caveat that Hertfordshire's rated in rolling out T-levels isn't the greatest speed at the moment, and I'm sure Anna will cover that a little bit later on. But apprenticeships are a key priority for the LEP here in Hertfordshire. They're part of the strategic economic plan and really important to get as many 16 to 24-year-olds running through apprenticeship pathways where we can, wherever possible. When it comes to Gatsby benchmarks themselves, these were actually came about in 2014 after some research by a former Watford Boys head, Professor Sir John Holman from the Gatsby Foundation, where he pulled together world-class careers guidance and made these Gatsby benchmarks. And today we're going to focus on Gatsby Benchmark 7, around encounters with further and higher education providers, but also with independent training providers and apprenticeship providers as well. So really looking forward to this session. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail to set the picture around Gatsby Benchmark 7, a couple of hints and tips around that, and then I'm going to hand over very shortly to Anna. So when you look at the Compass report or Gatsby Benchmark 7 itself, it's got a few different minor parts to the benchmark to enable you as a school or college to score anywhere between 0 and 100% on that benchmark. So to enable you to hit 100% on that benchmark, you need to be able to record that all students have got a full range of understanding when it comes to the different pathways, such as school, college, sixth form, apprenticeships, independent training providers. And by the time that they're 16, they should have all had some meaningful encounters with these different providers. So an awareness of your local sixth form offer and maybe neighbouring sixth form as well, and any consortiums, being able to hear and visit colleges, universities, and have apprenticeship providers talk to your students. And then again, by the age of 18, all pupils who are considering applying for university should have had at least 2 visits to a university and had the opportunity to meet pupils and staff, and that being a meaningful encounter. So here in Hertfordshire, we don't have any sixth form colleges, we have sixth forms. So making students in your school or college aware of your local sixth form offer, the open evenings, the taster sessions, but also any other consortiums locally is completely fine. And then it's also about engaging and using the Baker clause. So the ability for an employer or an apprenticeship provider to be able to come and speak to your students where appropriate and add value to things that you're already running. So some ideas around that really are assemblies and talks. Obviously, during COVID times, a lot of those became virtual assemblies and virtual talks. You've got taster days and virtual open days or actual open days. So having a kind of a mixture of those. And a real area that's great to tap into is alumni. So bringing back alumni that have gone on to say something like Springboard, specialist provision for autistic young people, or someone that's gone into a degree apprenticeship, or someone that's gone on to a certain course at college, or they've gone into an apprenticeship. It's bringing back and engaging alumni is a fantastic way of engaging and inspiring your young people and opening their eyes to the different opportunities out there, really. When it comes to this benchmark, as well as the things on this slide here, it's also thinking about how you track what the students are doing. So it might be that you have a number of students in the sixth form, if you have a sixth form at your establishment, that are going out to visit universities, but how are you tracking that? Could you use Unifrog? Could you use Compass or Compass Plus? Could you use a simple Excel spreadsheet? Could you set tasks on things like Unifrog, where it then gives a email to every student asking them to track when they've been to a university visit? So it's just something to consider there, is about how you track what people have done. This was probably harder when it was in lockdown, and hopefully it will be becoming a little bit easier, but it'd be good to get a robust system in place where you're, regardless of if they're going on a virtual open day with it being a meaningful encounter with them, able to talk to former students or current students at the university, for example, but it's also being able to track if they're going physically over to visit somewhere as well. So that's just something to consider. Anna, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand over to you. Really excited and really happy to have Anna Morrison, CB, on board today to talk to us and give us some real great insight to a local and national picture. Anna, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve, and it's great to be with you all this afternoon. You referred to me earlier as a resident expert, and I kind of sat here thinking, resident expert? Well, I'm definitely a resident. So for lots of people won't have met me, I'm sure. So Anna Morrison, founder and director of Amazing Apprenticeships, and I wear lots of different hats in the apprenticeship and technical education space. If we look at Hertfordshire, one of the things that I do is to manage the Beds, Herts and Milton Keynes provider network, so looking after all of our apprenticeship training providers who operate across Hertfordshire. So that's a link I'm going to come back to. But I also have my business here in Hertfordshire. So Amazing Apprenticeships is based in Hitchin. I went to school in Hertfordshire. I now live in Hertfordshire. So although we get to do loads of really great stuff nationally, Hertfordshire is absolutely where, you know, a lot of my passion drives from. So it's great to be able to work closely with you. I'm really delighted to see how the Careers Hub has kind of grown, and the work that you're all doing as careers leaders is absolutely brilliant. And just to start off by saying, I am on your side. I'm always kind of championing. There is some brilliant work happening in schools, and there is some really fantastic activities and really inspirational things happening in schools. So I hate it when there are, you know, messages out there saying schools aren't doing enough. It's not that. We've got some brilliant people. Yourselves are all examples of, you know, really kind of working hard to achieve that, but there is always room for more. And so one of my messages is always about trying to get more resources, more inspiration down to the front line so that you can do an even better job. So today I'll bring up my slides. We're going to be covering a few different bits. Let me just do slideshow. Oh no, I didn't want to do that, sorry. I wanted to go from my slide. So we're going to be covering Gatsby Benchmark 7. Now, why this is going to be of real interest and importance to you kind of over the coming few years is because of this new emphasis that is coming through on apprenticeships, but on technical education more broadly, and the link with independent training providers, as Steve has set out. One of the things to keep an eye on, I think, is there's something going through Parliament at the moment called Skills Bill. I wouldn't normally advise anyone to be kind of watching Parliament closely, but this Skills Bill is really important because Lord Baker, so he's in the House of Lords and he is the Baker Clause, he kind of designed the Baker Clause, is putting real pressure that actually there should be mandated encounters with technical education and training providers. So he's actually looking for there to be a mandated target on it. So it's going to be in the news a bit in the sector press anyway, and we'll be getting picked up as an area of importance. So today I would just really like to talk to you a bit about the landscape, what's going on out there nationally, what's happening here in Hertfordshire as well, and to just draw your eye to a few of the different initiatives and resources that you could be making use of, and then to set out some of those priorities. So first of all, let's start by looking at what's happening. So apprenticeships, I'm delighted to report that we are now seeing a return to pre-pandemic levels of apprenticeship vacancies coming through. And over the past few over the past few years, or the past 18 months, you know, when I've been coming and talking with yourselves and colleagues, we've obviously had real problems in terms of apprenticeship vacancies being available. So what's really good is we are back up to pre-pandemic levels of vacancies. We do have a problem in filling them though. So we now have an opposite problem to where we were before. Just to go through some of the other bits of technical education as well. So traineeships. Traineeships are a programme for 16 to 24-year-olds and often referred to as a pre-apprenticeship. So an opportunity for individuals to do some work on their English and maths, their employability skills, and also to undertake a period of work experience. Really, really effective in actually supporting individuals to move from perhaps unengaged or disengaged in education and employment to then move into employment opportunities. So what we're seeing with traineeships is a big procurement activity at the moment for 16 to 18-year-olds, because they are of significant concern to the government at the moment when we look at youth unemployment. T-levels, as Steve said, we've now got 10, but by 2023, there will be more than 20. And nationally, I get to do a lot of work with the T-levels team, working on some of the strategy around, well, how are we going to make sure that everyone knows about it? And Hertfordshire is a really good example of that, because although T-levels have been out there for quite a while, we don't have a lot of provision. In fact, we've got no provision currently, and we do know that we've got some provision coming through in the next couple of years, but not in the same volumes that others do. So actually, when the government is saying, oh, everyone should know about T-levels, I can always say, but what if you don't have any current T-level provision close to you? What should our approach be? So I'm going to pick that one up again later as well. Higher technical qualifications, the new kid on the block, but not really. So basically, they are rebranding level 4 and level 5 qualifications that are standalone qualifications. So previously possibly known as HNCs, HNDs, it's in that kind of space. Now, higher technical qualifications could be suitable for a young person leaving school. They're level 4, level 5. So you think post A level, post level 3. It could be post T level. It could also be suitable for an apprentice who's completed an advanced apprenticeship. Higher technical qualifications, basically an opportunity to get a level 4 or a level 5 qualification without having to do a full degree or have it wrapped up in an apprenticeship package of support and development. So we will find school leavers potentially going on to HTQs, they're called for short, as full-time students, or we might find employees in the workforce using HTQs to upskill. So quite a new area of development. They're only starting from next September, but obviously you're going to need to have them on your radar, particularly if you are supporting year 13s and you need to show that you are exploring all of those options. And then I've popped Kickstart on there as well, because we've recently had an announcement that Kickstart is going to be extended until March 2022. Now, Kickstart is really fantastic for young people aged 18 to 24. who have been in receipt of universal credit for more than 3 months and who need some support to get into the workplace. And it enables an employer to create a placement that is fully funded, fully paid for 25 hours per week, including national insurance and pension contributions as well. And it enables that young person to get back into the workplace, to build their skills and their confidence levels, to then be able to apply for other opportunities. So there's a huge amount happening in this space. When we talk about youth unemployment, it's a really interesting one, because we know that we have got significant volumes of young people who have been unemployed for a long period of time, so 12 months or more. And actually 22% of all people who have been unemployed for 12 months or more were aged 16 to 24. So you can see how they are disproportionately represented there when you can consider the whole kind of working age population who might be unemployed. But what we're seeing is more young people choosing to stay in full-time education at the moment. And so every economist, every skills planner is trying to read the rooms and, you know, look at their crystal ball and try and work out what might be coming in terms of possibly young people changing their minds or wanting to move into some of the employment opportunities that are coming through. Couple of other bits I'm going to pick up in more detail, but the parents survey that we ran earlier in the year in May shows that there has been a 10% drop in parental confidence in apprenticeships. So when we asked them about how confident, how happy they would be if their child wanted to pursue an apprenticeship, that had dropped from the 2 years before. And Steve's already mentioned this youth voice census data, which this, you know, kind of reinforces the point. Nearly 86% of young people in secondary schools saying that they've had apprenticeships discussed with them. Brilliant. You know, the conversations are happening, but that's not translating into that motivation to apply. So with only 29% of those likely or very likely to actually apply. So I'm really keen to get into that bit. Where's the disconnect? What are we getting wrong? Because it's great the conversations are happening, but why are we not motivating them to want to apply? What's stopping them? And then obviously, if they decide that they do want to apply, to ensure that that support is there and that schools and colleges are equipped with knowing what they could and should be saying to those young people to help them best as well. So that's some of the stuff that we're involved in. So looking at the vacancies on Find an Apprenticeship, granted this is last week's data, or a couple of weeks, we took it on the 2nd of October, but this is what we're seeing. And when you look at the vacancies across the different levels, still over half of the vacancies that are coming through on Find an Apprenticeship are intermediate, 45% advanced, 3% higher, and less than 1% degree apprenticeships. Now, a few caveats. This is only based on the Find an Apprenticeship data. So this is the government data. So there will be a number of employers who will be recruiting for apprentices that don't use this system. That's caveat number one. Number two is that it's just a snapshot in time. So we haven't kind of analysed the whole year, but I just wanted to give you a flavour of what's on there. So what's great is there's a high volume of vacancies. What's not so great is there aren't the numbers of vacancies coming through on higher and degree apprenticeships that we know lots and lots of young people are aspiring to, you know, rightly or wrongly. And this is where we've got to get that information right, because actually if we're all encouraging them all to just aim for degree apprenticeships, then we're doing a disservice. What they really need to understand, especially for those who might be coming out of level 3 provision, is that actually a lot of apprentices will start as advanced apprentices and then work their way up. And we need to try and teach our young people the skills of looking for the opportunities that are going to offer them progression and give them that really kind of rich experience as an apprentice, not just aiming for degree apprenticeships. Obviously, some will, some are very successful at it, but that's not where the majority of vacancies are at the moment. Hertfordshire is mirroring this pattern. So we're not unique in any way. Kind of, you know, what we're seeing nationally is what we're seeing in Hertfordshire. To give it some context, we're seeing around 450 vacancies a week at the moment, sorry, a month at the moment, but that will be kind of advertised for a number of weeks throughout the month. But at any given time, we should have around 450 vacancies. I think that's going to start going up as well. The majority of the vacancies in Hertfordshire are around intermediate and advanced level, and we don't have very many higher and degree level apprenticeships coming through at the moment. So hopefully that is useful to kind of set the scene. Of the vacancies that we do see coming through in Hertfordshire, this is a very kind of rough analysis, but we're seeing real growth in these areas. So we're seeing a lot of vacancies coming through for hospitality. We're seeing a lot for digital and technology type roles, healthcare and care services. So this could be, this is quite broad, but healthcare thinking, you know, positions in hospitals and, you know, doctors' surgeries, for example, quite traditional healthcare, but also in care homes and care settings as well. We're seeing quite a bit around finance and accountancy, and I don't think that's unusual either, particularly when, you know, a lot of people are going to be leaning on their accountants for financial advice at the moment from businesses particularly. Early years and teaching assistants is seeing a real boom. So early years, nurseries and those kind of childcare settings, as well as primary and secondary schools themselves creating teaching assistant positions. And business admin, that kind of broad catch-all, but you know, I think a lot of businesses recognizing that they are struggling with recruitment at the moment, and one of the best ways of them dealing with some of those skills gaps is to grow their own talent, and it's a slightly longer view that they're going to have to take on their workforce development. So just to move on to the parent survey, I wanted to share some of the headlines with you. So 66% of parents and carers were saying that they would consider an apprenticeship for their child. Now that was a decrease of 9% from the previous 2 years, when previously, you know, we'd been slightly higher. Now, I think that's to be expected. Everything that parents were hearing and probably feeling themselves as well through the pandemic will have impacted that. And I think the number of vacancies, you know, it's really important that we're getting across to parents that there are jobs out there. Hopefully they'll be picking it up in the mainstream media, but kind of making sure that our messaging is reinforcing that. 85% of parents said they didn't know anything about T-levels. So you can see how we're going to need to start triangulating this. Not only are we going to need to be getting those messages out to students in schools, but we're going to need to be talking to parents as well. By the way, by 2024, any provider will be able to deliver T-levels. So there should be, you know, at the moment it's quite managed growth, as in schools, colleges, independent providers need to apply to the government to be able to offer T-levels as part of this staged rollout. But by 2024, everyone will be able to offer T-levels, and that's not that far away, is it? So if you think about the year groups that potentially are going to be building up for that growth, you can see why we do need to be having some of those conversations with our year 9s and 10s already, so that they're kind of preparing for that. 86% of parents and carers didn't feel confident in how to support their child to apply for an apprenticeship. So again, I think we've got work to do here. And I know, speaking to many schools, that often this is kind of defaulted to the careers leader or the person who has responsibility for careers in the schools. But actually, wouldn't it be great if all of the teachers were as skilled up on supporting with apprenticeship applications as they are with UCAS applications, for example? And if we could build up to that level of confidence with our workforce. 68% of parents and carers are not aware of degree apprenticeships. So I thought that was really interesting. Kind of, it's really important that we are telling them about the progression opportunities that can lead to degree apprenticeships, you know, all the way up to master's level. And the University of Hertfordshire, you know, are delivering degree apprenticeships, which is brilliant, as are kind of 100 other higher education institutions across the country now. 7% of parents said they would not consider an apprenticeship for their child, and that was an increase of 3% from previous years. So this was where they basically just said, no, my child is not going to do an apprenticeship, which, although it's brutal, it's really good to see the feedback, isn't it, to know kind of the objections that we're going to be dealing with. So a bit worrying that there was that increase. We asked the parents if they had an idea of the likely careers interest of their child or children, and we saw a 300% increase in science and research, which is really fantastic, because that really does sit with a lot of the work that's happening in Hertfordshire. You know, a lot of the opportunities that are coming through in Hertfordshire are going to be in exactly this area. So we've just got to make sure we connect the passion with the opportunities, I think, rather than importing other skills from other areas of the country. 80% of parents and carers said they would like to receive information about careers, events and activities. So this was encouraging a real appetite from parents to want to know what's happening. And 84% of them said they wanted to be kept informed about apprenticeships and other opportunities in Hertfordshire. So this did spark a bit of activity in the summer, where we ran some webinars for parents, particularly to let them know what was happening. But I think we've got to keep that drumbeat going, haven't we, with parents, to make sure they know what is happening. So just to quickly run through a couple of other bits with you, we have an initiative called Project Positive, which Amazing Apprenticeships are leading with Hertfordshire County Council. Something I'm really passionate about is making sure that our disadvantaged young people in Hertfordshire are given equal access to all of the opportunities. And working with Herts County Council colleagues for a long time now, our care experienced young people are just not getting access to apprenticeships at the same level that other students are. And we've been trying to work out why this is, and we've decided to put in place this 2-year pilot programme, which will see the creation in the first year of 15 high quality apprenticeship opportunities, ring-fenced for individuals with care experience. It will be for individuals in Hertfordshire. And what will be quite unique about this programme is firstly in how those individuals are identified and supported, working with the virtual school and the care leaving team and all of the personal advisor support that's in place. Then making sure that when we are looking at the opportunities we're matching them to, that both the employer and the training provider are fully on board in terms of the kind of support and expectations that they're going to be expected to put in place to be able to be part of this programme. The benefit to them will be that they will then have access to a huge range of CPD opportunities to come together with other employers and training providers, but also to receive expert input on things like trauma and attachment, and kind of really understanding some of those triggers. When we've looked at why apprenticeships sometimes don't or aren't successful for individuals that are care experienced, is because perhaps they may react to certain situations in unexpected ways, and employers may not be aware of kind of all of that work that needs to go on behind the scenes for an individual to be able to kind of achieve their independence and live independently, and kind of, you know, all of the costs, but also all of the support that's available there. So this is all about kind of bringing this all together and creating a really supportive programme for Hertfordshire. It's getting a lot of attention nationally. We just got to make sure we deliver it in Hertfordshire first. But if you are supporting care experienced young people in your schools or colleges, we'd be really interested to talk to you, because we're, you know, it's a 2-year programme. So I'm very keen to link in. Few resources to let you know about. I've put just checking. You may well have received our mailings and you will be sick to death of hearing about this, but just in case, the Amazing Apprenticeships website has been refreshed over the summer. We've got a new film on there that I call my hero film, but basically it's called Apprentices Are Amazing, and it focuses on trying to showcase apprentices carrying out all sorts of different roles. And we have really tried to cover a breadth of different roles at different levels and across the country as well. There's a new teacher zone area that may have passed you by. The bit I'd like to draw your attention to is we've put a term-by-term planner on there of things that you might want to consider doing with your students, with your colleagues and with parents and carers, as kind of on a term-by-term approach. Our monthly parents and carers packs are continuing to roll out, so please do kind of use those, send them out to your parents. They're all free of charge, you know, and it just means, you know, we mentioned that drumbeat. Drumbeat's just a bit of a cheesy marketing word, isn't it, for getting regular high quality information out to your parents and carers and letting them know what's going on. National Apprenticeship Week 2022. I'm sure this date is in your diary, but just in case it isn't, it's the 7th to the 13th of February. There'll be a lot happening nationally as well as locally in Hertfordshire. We would love to support you with any of your plans. And then I'm just going to quickly talk to you about the ASK programme as well. There's a load of, we've called them rapid reads. What we've tried to do is create 1 or 2 pages that give you an overview of lots of different things. I've mentioned T-levels, I've mentioned traineeships, the Baker Clause. You know, there are these rapid reads that you could access and perhaps share with colleagues that they might find just a really useful snapshot of information. They're really designed to share with teachers, I guess, and colleagues, but they are written in a way that students would be able to use them and understand them as well. And then just to flag up a couple of resource bundles that we've released just this week for 2 of the apprentices that we featured as heroes. So the first is Ben at the BBC and Sama at Coca-Cola, but there's like a lesson plan, a worksheet, a PowerPoint presentation. So if you haven't used those, please do. Key Stage 3 appropriate to 5, because I know we get asked a lot for Key Stage 3. A couple of other resources to let you know about. These T-level resources we wrote for the Department for Education. The digital toolkit is really useful actually, because what it is it includes a self-assessment tool. So as schools, you can work through, well, what provision is available to us locally, what provision is going to be available to us locally, and how can we take an approach to our T-level information sharing with our students and with their families that is appropriate to our school. So what I'm not saying is that you shouldn't be talking about it at all, but I think what we are saying is you can pick what's appropriate to your students, but just make sure you've got it kind of evidence, because Ofsted would love to see that. Also, there is a T-levels teacher guide. So if you've got colleagues who are like, I just want more detail on what the rollout is, which students they're best suited to, how they're structured, how assessment works, what's an industry placement, then that's quite a good guide. It's only 18 pages long. Ask programme, our target this year is 100% of schools uptaking the Ask programme in their institutions. I know many of you are already engaged with the Ask programme. The Ask programme stands for Apprenticeship Support and Knowledge for Schools and Colleges, but actually it covers apprenticeships, traineeships and T-levels. And through this programme, you can have access to fully funded expert sessions that can be delivered for your students, for your staff, and for your parents and carers as well. What you need to do is visit the website that's showing at the bottom there, and you basically just complete a form. You'll then have a planning meeting, and it's Pasang who's now representing Hertfordshire. She'll come in or she'll have a call with you, work out what you need, and then get a plan in place. So do take advantage of that. So just going to leave you with 2 priorities. We want to help to raise awareness of vocational and technical options. So working through the Careers Hub, the Ask programme, I've said about that ambition to reach 100% of schools in Hertfordshire, taking up the Ask programme, and to work with you to develop and share resources and provide additional insight. It's really important to me that you tell me what else you need so that we can try and develop it for you. And kind of externally, we need to increase the range and the quality of opportunities for our Hertfordshire residents. So working with the LEP, working with the local authority, we really want to ensure that we are boosting the number of quality vacancies in the county. And by that, I mean the range of levels, the salaries, the progression opportunities, but definitely that within that, we're widening access to vulnerable and disadvantaged groups and encouraging employers to make the most of those incentives. There's some quite substantial financial incentives they can access at the moment. So I know I've thrown a load of stuff at you there, but I'm going to stop now because we're going to kind of bring it to life with other speakers. So thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Anna. I think we'll take that opportunity just before we go on to the other speakers, just to see if there's any questions for Anna. Gareth has put in the chat, Anna, how closely do you think the new apprenticeship vacancies correlate with school calendars, e.g. the build up to them being ready for the workplace around July, September starts?
It's quite chaotic out there at the moment. So what we're finding is some of the bigger employers are starting are kind of re-releasing their year-long campaigns, so advertising now to take people on next September, which is great to see. Some of it is very reactive, so this is really as a result of the pandemic and Brexit, and we're seeing employers kind of suddenly going, we need skills, we need people, what are we going to do, and looking to apprenticeships. And then kind of anywhere in between. So there were a lot of vacancies that were delayed or postponed during the pandemic. And what we are now seeing, for example, the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education have created a level 7 solicitor apprenticeship position. Fantastic. And it's starting in January. And they were saying, will you promote this to A-level students and schools across the country? And I was thinking, oh yeah, they'll love me for that. Because I understand the pressures of trying to keep students on programme and completing. But saying that, of course, we've still got high volumes of young people who left last summer and the summer before who are still looking for those opportunities. So we're hoping that we can kind of get them into some of the existing vacancies and be working on that pipeline of young people who might be looking for those opportunities. But yeah, good question.
Thank you. And I know we've got Sam Sullivan on the call from Tesco's, who's a prime example of what you said at the beginning, Anna, where Tesco's have already released their finance apprenticeship for September 2022 intake. And then that window will close, and then obviously they'll move towards mock assessment centres and recruiting processes to get them in place for July to September. So again, that's a really well thought out process that's aligning well with what schools are doing. And I know from what you mentioned a moment ago, any schools on the call or any enterprise advisors working with schools, be mindful of that ask offer, where it's got that opportunity to help prepare students for a mock interview, or it's got that opportunity to help support your school or college with mock assessment centres. So again, the school prep is aligning with the employer prep as well. I think it's an important message. We've got one more question in the chat. The best way to advertise an apprenticeship, is that through the government website, in your opinion, Anna, or what's your thoughts on that?
I would say it's one of many. So as an employer of apprentices, absolutely. And kind of as someone who's got a contract with the department, of course, I'm going to endorse find an apprenticeship, because it's a really good starting point, but it's not the only way. And I think, you know, depending on the resources available to the employers, there's a number of different approaches you can take, working with local schools, working with Herts County Council, who are supporting young people who are classed as NEET. I know it's a horrible term, but not in education, employment or training. You can do community outreach, you can bring people in through traineeships and placements or Kickstart. So there's lots of different ways available, particularly at the moment, where employers can think about their recruitment strategies. Yes, find an apprenticeship is a brilliant starting point, but there are lots of other ways that we can reach out into our local community. Often depends on the size of the employer as well. You know, if I'm advertising for an apprentice, no one's heard of Amazing Apprenticeship. So we have to be quite clever to think about how we do some of that outreach work. Whereas a brand like Tesco's, you know, have got probably a different challenge in that they will receive thousands of applications for their vacancies. And so they've got a different challenge on their hands in terms of that shortlisting process. So yeah, hopefully that covers it.
Very much, Anna. That's been really insightful. What we're going to do now is we're going to go over to some of the independent training providers. We've got sessions running today and tomorrow. So in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Anna Sherriff from KEITS. Then we'll hear from Tanya Baney from Hart Learning and Development. We've got Phil Line coming on from Hertford Regional College, and then we'll hear from Charlie Clark from SSG. And we are recording today's session, and we will also record tomorrow's. So if you're unable to join us tomorrow, but you want to hear from Andrea Dodd from Performance Learning Group, who really specialise heavily in the hospitality industry, and we've got Emma Pearce tomorrow from the University of Hertfordshire about their widening access offer. And feel free to watch that bit back on video or drop in tomorrow for that part of that session. But I'm going to unshare my screen and hand over to Anna Sherriff from KEITS. Thanks, Anna.
Hi everybody. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. So my name is Anna Sherriff. I work for KEITS. We are a private training provider based in Elstree. So just to give you a bit of background about us. So we started in 1997. We've been delivering work-based learning ever since then. We're one of the largest private training land-based providers in England. And we've managed to sort of support about 18,000 learners and up to 5,000 employers since we first started. And definitely it seems to be growing, which is a really good thing. So although we're based in Elstree, we do more or less cover nationwide with some of our delivery model. So just to give you an idea of, we've got a list of, we tend to support business services, and we also do a lot of the land-based sector. So we've had a lot of interest with the dog groomer, which has gone live recently. We've got the animal care and welfare assistant. We've got the equine groom, we've got sports turf, golf greenkeeper, and then we've got the business services. We've got level 3, level 5 management, customer service 2 and 3. We've also got a couple of new ones. We've got countryside worker, which we're going to be offering out, and also the learning mentor, which is a level 3. So that's been really popular. across most of the sectors. Okay, so most of our learners, or all of our learners, are work-based. So there's no coming into college a day a week. Everything is done in the workplace. Normally what happens is apprentices are employed and have a contract of employment in place before we can support them. Normally awards, depending on what they take between 15 to 30 months. Again, the awards are very flexible, so we work with the business and the employer needs and work around them. So our delivery model has slightly changed since COVID. So whereas the learners used to be visited face-to-face every four to 6 weeks in the workplace, they have a mixture of face-to-face and also meetings via Teams now. We've actually found that that's worked really well. We use a variety of different delivery methods. So we use sort of video to gather evidence, especially with some of our land-based sectors, with the groomers, the yards, photos, and different witness testimonies. So again, all of our apprenticeships have an endpoint assessment. We have had quite a few learners go through endpoint assessment now, and we've had great success with that. So we're finding that's working really well. And even during times of, even through COVID, the learners were still managing to take their endpoint assessments remotely, and they were, passing, which was great news. So we do offer additional curriculum topics. So we might have a learner that could be, say, on a dog grooming qualification. So we do offer different topics that are sort of relevant. We try to ensure that our learners are up to date with the latest news and guidance. We provide regular newsletters. We have our new website that's gone live this week. So again, we try and put as much information onto there. We use a lot of social media. So again, we encourage all of our learners and employers to look at that. Within most of the apprenticeships anyway, we'll be still supporting English and maths and digital skills. A lot of the learners that we find that sometimes choose the land-based industries like to be hands-on, but we'll still support them in the workplace to do their English and maths. Off-the-job training, which again, most people probably know about. So we have included quite a few different ways of using the off-the-job training for them to gather their hours, especially with some of our land-based sectors. And then we also offer, we've got like short Cpd courses as well. So we offer them to our apprentices and also other employees or employers within the business. So we've got a whole range that we can offer. So it's just making it almost like a one-stop shop. So we're looking at supporting the whole business rather than just looking at the apprentices. So the Cpd courses are just short 4-hour online courses, which have proved really popular. So it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. So we can be contacted on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We've got a new website, so please go and take a look. We've got loads of vacancies at the minute. So we've got anything from golf greenkeepers to dog groomers to, we've got a couple of employers that are looking, such as Dudley Zoo, for example. So it's definitely worth taking a look on the website. We also, that feeds through from the Find an Apprenticeship website anyway. So, we have daily listings of people that, employers are wanting to search for learners. But, by all means, if there's anything you want to ask me or anything like that, then please feel free to get in touch or, take a look at our new website.
Great, thank you very much, Anna. That's fantastic. If anyone's got any questions for Anna, they could either ask them at the end of all of the speakers, or they could direct message her in the chat, or take her email address off the screen and get in contact with Anna direct. Thank you very much for your time, Anna. I'm going to hand over next to Tanya Baney from Hart Learning and Development. Thank you, Tanya.
All right, thank you, Steve. I'm going to try my best to share the right screen. Oh dear, that doesn't look good, does it? I've got so many screens up in front of me, it doesn't show. Oh, there we go. Brilliant. And then it's brilliant. Can everybody see that? Okay, Steve, is that coming up?
Yeah, we can see that. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm Tanya. I'm from Hart Learning and Development. We are the apprenticeship arm, employability arm for North Hertfordshire College. And we deliver apprenticeships anywhere from Scotland down to Plymouth and Isle of Man, and some courses into Scotland and Wales for the non-devolved nations as well. And we also have an employability offer that we deliver regionally to all the job centres as well. So we've got quite a good spread, which is quite nice. In terms of apprenticeships, we do deliver a range of apprenticeships from level 2 to level 5. But what I thought best is to just highlight apprenticeships that we felt would be appropriate for any school leavers looking for the entry kind of level jobs into the workplace. And those cover business support, as you can see, the administration, accounting courses as well. We have got the level 3 accounting course as well on there. And then our more construction courses, which is motor vehicle, installation, maintenance, electrician and property maintenance operative, as well as carpentry. And again, we are offering the motor vehicle level 3 as well, because for some learners that is a more appropriate course than a level 2. But these are all the courses that we offer within a regional market rather than nationally, as our management programs tend to be more national than the business support courses that we have on offer. We have intakes for these courses throughout the year. I know there was a question just around intakes for the year. So we have got them around the year. Certain courses such as carpentry, motor vehicle and installation, we have intakes in September. And for those courses, we do start recruitment fairly early on in the year. So January, February, we start recruiting into those apprenticeships. And we will carry on with that recruitment right through to September as well, and sometimes beyond, just depends on who's coming through. And the other courses we have, such as property maintenance, and we also run the gas operative, which is the new course at level 3. For those courses, we have intakes throughout the year, so 3 to 4 courses, starting points throughout the year. Our business courses, business admin and accounting courses, again, we recruit for them throughout the year. So we have 4 different intakes. And when I mean 4 intakes, it's just where the webinars or the blended learning starts. We do enroll throughout the year, and we will cover basic terms such as business skills or basic accounting skills before the learners actually start the classroom sessions. Or classrooms, there'll be webinars as well as the blended approach. And that's just to make sure that everybody's familiar when they come into the apprenticeship with the terminology we use within the knowledge sessions as well. The length of the program, they vary, so it can be anything from 14 months through to 3-year courses, such as installation, maintenance, electrician can be a 3-year course. It just depends what the learner's coming into us with any previous qualifications or previous experience they might have. We've had learners coming with level 1s and level 2s, which they've gained before, and then we will fast track them through that apprenticeship then as well. So the courses just depends on which apprenticeship the learner will complete and how able they are as well. We do ask all learners to complete a skill check before they come onto the apprenticeship. And that's just for us to gauge what level they're at when they come to us and where we can make adjustments on that program. Just to make sure we don't cover anything that they know already and just focusing on the knowledge they do need to gain. In addition to the apprenticeship, we have short courses in terms of employability programs for any 19+ learners that's coming out of education or it's not in work at the moment. So we have those courses as well that's offered by our employability team. In terms of contacting us, we work with schools we would like to work more with schools, but we have worked with schools in the past as well. And there's a couple of ways to contact us with the email address on top, as well as our email address. But what we do is we offer college tours to students to come into the college environment and just see what it's like, get to meet some of the apprentices or full-time study learners. We're quite happy to come in with assembly talks as well, whether that's in person or virtual. No, COVID has made everything slightly different, but we're happy with either. We've also opened to apprenticeship stands. We do have stands in schools quite often, so we're quite happy to come in, and that's in workplaces as well, just to promote apprenticeships and answer any questions any of the students or if there's parents around have around apprenticeships, and just clear up some of those myths around apprenticeships as well. We also have college open days throughout the year, where we invite both employers and we invite learners to come to the open days. And again, just to talk about the various apprenticeships, talk to our tutors, especially if the learner is unsure about which pathway they're interested in, because that gives them great insight into what they'll be learning on the program as well. What we've recently started as well is inviting learners onto CV writing workshops, and also we've got a new webinar coming out on interview skills. And it's resources we're hoping to share with schools just to help learners with that apprenticeship journey into apprenticeships and making sure they're ready for the workplace in terms of what to expect when they come into an interview with an employer, but also making sure they do the right research as well when they apply for a role, because some learners might realise later that a small organisation is far better for them, a better fit than a large organisation, and vice versa. So we do encourage learners just to do the right research before they go for any interview, and we give that guidance as well. So we're quite keen to share those resources with schools in terms of career planning and career conversations around apprenticeship. We're quite happy to come in at any time, any point, to come and talk to the learners, whether classroom settings, small groups, big groups. We're quite flexible around that. And that's us, really.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Tanya. I'm just going to see if we've got Phil Line on the call yet from Hertford Regional College. If not, we're going to come to Charlie.
I have just arrived.
Brilliant, Phil. Are you able to share your screen?
Yep, sure thing.
Excellent.
Just remind me, where is it on? Oh, no, I found it, don't worry.
Thanks, Phil.
There we go. So I'll kick off then, yeah. My name is Phil Line. I'm Head of Student Services at Hertford Regional College. Let me just get rid of that. I'm just going to run through very quickly these slides and hopefully fill you in a little bit of information about the college. So the college is split over two campuses. We have one in Broxbourne, or Turnford really, and one in Ware. We do have a split of courses between the two. So, you know, when talking to a student, it is important that they understand that, you know, depending on the course they do, it does depend on the campus that they would be attending. So our Broxbourne campus has got a host of facilities and is our larger campus. We've got catering and hospitality there, gym, fitness suite and sports hall, a restaurant that members of the public use. We've even got an air cabin there for our kind of tourism and stewarding students, as well as a fully functioning theatre as well for our media and performing arts students. So really at the Broxbourne campus, we have the courses that are up on the screen now: construction, electrical, engineering, science, motor vehicle, childcare, health and social care, public services, sport, catering, hospitality, travel and tourism, business, accounting and management, digital technologies, and media, music and performing arts. So we've got a lot of courses based at that Broxbourne campus. And like I said, it is important because sometimes we do have, quite often we have students just assuming that all of them are done at both campuses, and that's not the case. So our Ware campus, slightly smaller campus, but very much around kind of the creative industry. So we've got visual merchandising, we've got our own gallery there, we've got hair and beauty salons, and really kind of high-tech art and design areas. So really what they can do at the Ware campus is those kind of art courses, art and design, fashion design, visual merchandising, and also the kind of hairdressing, barbering, beauty therapy, and the theatrical and media makeup, which is very popular, and then photography and graphic design, 3D design, and games design as well as animation. Also at the Ware campus, we have our assisted learning kind of area as well, for students who need kind of more bespoke once they're kind of coming out of college, school, sorry. So what we offer at the college is we do offer kind of full-time courses for 16 to 18-year-olds that are full study programs. Also, we do offer apprenticeships as well. As that, we also go up to levels 4 and 5, and also maybe looking at level 6 soon as well. So kind of higher education courses as well, and that inclusive learning that I was talking about a moment ago. I'll just jump past this. It's just an explanation of qualifications. So the full-time study programs are very much our meat and bread for us. So it would be a technical or vocational qualification. There'd be work experience put in with that as well as a kind of a tutorial personal development add on to that education as well. And for any students who haven't got GCSE at level 4 in maths or English, they would also be doing that with us as well. So that's our kind of main study programs. But also we do offer apprenticeships. So we work with employers across a range of industries. On the slide, these are our main areas of offering apprenticeships, although we do others as well. So we'd always encourage people to talk to our apprenticeship team if they're interested in that as well. But yeah, as it says, accountancy, brickwork, carpentry, business, early years care, electrical installation, marketing and plumbing are some of the main ones, but there are more. And our higher education, we do offer HNDs and foundation degrees and extended degrees. When we talk to students about this, because sometimes they don't realise, they think only universities offer HE provision, but we do offer HE provision sometimes with the University of Greenwich, sometimes with Hertfordshire University, and there are some advantages to it. I mean, one is it's cheaper. Also, you're likely to get smaller class sizes and maybe kind of a more industry-based approach than some university courses. So always worth looking at. And I suppose if you're looking at your Gatsby benchmarks, you can maybe tick off 2 for FE and HE by visiting us as well. And we have our inclusive area, which is based at Ware. We run a number of bespoke courses for students. We have about 120 in that area at this time. I'll just jump past that. So I think, when we talk about why choose HRC, we are very much based around what the student's destination is going to be, what's their employability, looking at work experience, looking at working with industry. And also the majority of our lecturers are from industry, have come out, so they're talking about, they're expert in those fields that they are teaching in. Also, we offer enrichment as well to our students. So there's all sorts of other things they can do: fitness, join clubs, become involved in our learner voice as well. Also for students 16 to 18, they may be eligible for a bursary, which can pay towards some of their kit, travel, free school meals, etc. as well. So that particularly if they've had free school meals, they will continue to have those at college as well. So this may be of interest to you as well. These just on here are dates of our upcoming events. I will say as well, though, we are always open if you have a particular group you'd like to have a tour during the day, just to contact us. There's two. The best one for if you want a tour is marketing@hrc.ac.uk. But if you want maybe them to have a discussion with careers advisor, if you email careers@hrc.ac.uk. But yeah, we've got some open days coming up, one in November particularly, so please do point students in the direction of those as well if they want to come and have a look. But yeah, to remember to go to the campus that fits the course that they want to do though. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I had to say. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, if I can. There we go.
That was great, Phil. Thank you very much. If anyone's got any questions for Phil, please feel free to pop them in the chat or direct message him or contact him via some of the routes that have gone into the chat already. Charlie, if I could bring you in next from SSG, but thank you very much, Phil. That was really great. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Let me just try and sort this technology out.
You're a tiny bit quiet, Charlie. I don't know if if you're on headphones. No.
No probs. Hopefully that's okay.
Yeah,
good afternoon, everyone. My name's Charlie. I'm an operations manager at SSG Training. I do realise I've got the graveyard slot today, so I'll try and whiz through this as quick as possible. Essentially, our intent today is to provide you with information around some alternative post-16 options at SSG and some of our offers throughout this year in terms of potentially supporting you in schools with a range of different CV workshops and anything that we can offer for you guys in school. Throughout the slides, you'll see our contact details pop up on the screen. If you do want to get in contact with us, just make a note of that. And any contact that you make, you can just reference Hart Schools Interested, and then our head office will be aware of what that's referencing. Essentially, we're an independent education and training provider and offer a range of different courses at different academic levels. We do pride ourselves on having a lot of practical delivery methods. We work with a range of individuals that might be further away from the jobs market, that are potentially at risk of becoming NEET. We pride ourselves on having practical delivery methods and working in small groups. So anyone that is potentially concerned about going into a bigger college environment, SSG is the place to be, with a lot more kind of one-to-one and bespoke support available for those individuals. We do have direct links with employers across our traineeships, study programs and apprenticeships, with the intention of, it doesn't matter where you are or where candidates are at the start of their learning. It's a case of where they're at the end with that kind of that work experience element to all of our programs. So like I said just then, getting ahead of myself, our three main areas that we work around are study programs, traineeships, and this year just starting off more for our apprenticeships in Hertfordshire as well. So what can our programs offer? Like I said, a range of different small groups and practical learning, with some on-the-job learning. A lot of our courses tend to be around 16 to 20 weeks long, so not the full academic year. This can be quite useful for, again, individuals that are wanting to step into work as quick as possible. So generally around kind of the January, February, March time for a student coming into us, they'll be looking to gain additional work experience with an employer that they might have done some work with across their program. So a lot of our programs follow a pathway. I do like starting with our Foundation Skills Academy, which comes in at a level 1, which doesn't have any entry requirements. This is primarily for individuals that, again, are really unsure about what their next steps are, that are, again, risk of becoming NEET, and we can provide them with a pathway where they can move up the academic ladder and into work. We do offer other programs which come in at a level 2 and level 3, primarily around our Intermediate Skills Academy, and advanced customer service. And from those study programs, individuals will get the nationally recognised qualification, 100 hours worth of work experience, obviously support for their maths and English, and our non-accredited workshops, which is primarily designed around confidence building and skills for outside education. Just a few employers on the screen there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but these are a range of different traineeships that we've offered in the last academic year. So yeah, lots of good opportunity at the moment across Hertfordshire. So far, we've seen over 3,000 hours worth of work experience in 2021 so far, with everyone engaging on level 2 qualifications or over. And again, we're looking to try and increase that throughout this academic year and into next as well. In terms of face-to-face visits and some open days, we are currently based in Stevenage at this point in time. We have open days every Thursday in Stevenage, and the individuals can be booked onto these sessions via our contact details via our head office. And the aim is to provide as much information, advice and guidance during those sessions, and kind of showcase what we're offering here at SSG. That's kind of that. Like I said, we can, as an independent education training provider, we do offer lots of different support in schools, so CV workshops, skills days, different assemblies and jobs fairs, and can kind of tailor our skill set to what you guys need in the school at that time. So if you do want any further information, our contact details are on the screen there. Please feel free to drop us an email or a call, and we'd be happy to help out. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. That was great. If anyone's got any questions for any of our recent speakers, feel free to either unmute and ask them direct, or raise your hand, or put something in the chat. But you've also now got contact details, so feel free to contact the speakers directly. Just like to say a big thank you to our guest speakers today for joining us and for the great information that you provided with us. Doesn't look like we've got any questions currently, so I'll press on, but feel free to pop stuff in the chat if you do have anything else. So with the last bit of time we've got now, I thought what we would do is reflect a little bit, possibly have a tiny bit of a discussion for anyone that feels available to do that, but think about and reflect on, having heard from what Anna's said today, around the amazing apprenticeship offer and the Ask offer. Think about how your school or college might be able to make use of that offer this year. You can normally get two activities a year with the Ask offer. So have a think about how you've used them in the past, how you might change that this year possibly. Have a think about how you might reach out to independent training providers, either for assemblies or for talks, or you've got certain students that you think would do well for going for a tour. Have a think about that, and think a little bit about how you feel you need to work to hit the Gatsby Benchmark 7. So take a little bit of time to reflect and think about that. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat to see if we've got anything in there at the moment. Charlie's popped in the contact details for SSG. Thank you for doing that, Charlie. So I'm just going to come off slide share just in case anyone's got any questions, or if they want to raise anything or any of their own reflections from today.
Steve, would you mind if I just added about the Ask programme? It's actually unlimited currently.
Oh, wow.
So it's fill your boots time, and please don't be restricted. I think what we're really keen to do is to obviously not duplicate stuff that we've got a lot of schools in Hertfordshire who do feel really confident delivering some of that baseline information. So really use the Ask programme to bring in that expertise where you feel that perhaps having a third party voice would kind of really make it land with the students, or perhaps, you know, bring them in to support your inset activities if there's a gap, you know. It's about trying to work with you. We're not going to force you to do anything at all. And also, if you want to go, they'll kill me for this, but if you want something that's not on the menu as well, then you're allowed to ask for that as well. It kind of end up coming to my team to help to create the resources. So you know what that flow looks like.
That's great, thank you, Anna. And then I've just seen in the chat that there's been just an inquiry to see if there's a charge for independent training providers to come to careers fairs, particularly aimed at SSG, and Charlie said that no, it's free to come along, which is fantastic. So there's lots of free things on offer today, which is what we like to hear. So I'll go on to our end key bits of information to share with you all before you go. So let me just share my screen for the final time. So for those of you working with schools as an enterprise advisor, or you're actually a careers leader for a school or college, Gareth has set us all the task to run through our campus audits and information on the week commencing the 29th of November, and then again just before Easter on the 21st of March, and then in the summer on the 4th of July. In an ideal world where possible, if the careers leader can complete Compass, but you've got your enterprise coordinator with you, and if they are available, your enterprise advisor, I just think that's the best way of completing Compass, taking about 20 to 30 minutes. So just making everyone aware of that. Gareth has also returned with the Hertfordshire Opportunity Portal virtual employer encounters, which is absolutely fantastic. There's now over 35 different sectors covered on there and videos of all of those that have already happened. But this Thursday, we've got NHS physios coming on to talk at 4:30 this Thursday. And then the following week on the 21st of October is bricklaying. So lots of different ones on there. Also on HOP, we've now got the videos for the growth sectors in Hertfordshire. So these videos have been greatly produced by Elstree Screen Arts Academy, by young people, for young people, promoting the growth sectors and hearing from people that have gone to school in Hertfordshire and now working and thriving in the growth sectors, and giving a bit of inspiration to current young people to do jump onto the growth sector part of HOP as well. And along the same lines as that, we've got the 6 free HOP lesson plans. So if you're looking to put anything into your PSHE program or in National Apprenticeships Week or National Careers Week, there's now 6 free lessons with presentations and worksheets also on HOP as well. So feel free to dig into those as well. Any schools located around North Herts and Stevenage, it's great to see a face-to-face careers fair coming back. So on Thursday, the 21st of October, 3:30 till 7 o'clock, there'll be Generation Hitchin at the Priory Hitchin Hotel. So not the Priory School, the Priory Hitchin Hotel. So if any of you have got students that are more towards that part of the county, feel free to promote this to students and parents. We hope later in the academic year, some of the other generation events may return, or it may develop out into new parts of the county. So keep posted for those as well. With you guys on here tonight, you've obviously come along to the Gatsby Benchmark 7 session. We'd love to see you on the 10th or the 11th of November for Gatsby Benchmark 2 around the Hertfordshire labour market, which will be co-hosted with Caroline Cartwright, who is the brainchild behind HOP. So it'd be great to see some of you come along to that. If you work in an education support centre, we'd love to invite you along on the 1st of December to a specialist session for careers leaders there. And also in December on the 2nd, we've got one for colleges as well. And then if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, depending on which part of the county you're in, we'll invite you to some sessions in December where we're hoping that some of these might actually be face-to-face, and there'll be a mixture of careers leaders coming to those. So that'd be great to share some best practice and hear from peers as well. I'd just like to do a bit of a temperature check. If you could pop in the chat, if you would be interested in the future, maybe later in the academic year, to hear a session that is solely on T-levels, either as an employer or as a careers leader, and please put in the chat that yes, you'd like to hear more about T-levels. And that's something that Anna and us are considering at the moment. But we feel there probably is an appetite, but it's good to get a bit of a temperature check if people don't mind popping in the chat if they would like to hear about that. Huge thanks to our guest speakers and especially to Anna for giving up her time and everything that she's done into tonight's session and tomorrow's. Slides and recordings will be available later this week. So feel free to keep an eye out to those. And Anna, I'm just going to hand over to you to say thank you, and then anything else that you'd like to say before we close? Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Steve. It's been really great to be with everyone. And, you know, there is so much good stuff happening in Hertfordshire. I'm always really proud to get involved. So, yeah, let's not take up any more of anyone's evenings. And the sun is just about shining. Well, it's not raining at least. So we'll look forward to working with you. And you've got like a hotline to us in Hertfordshire. So if we can't get it right in Hertfordshire, where can we get it right? So we're really keen that we are developing what you need and hearing your feedback. So keep speaking to Steve and Gareth and feeding that through. And I will do my best to make sure that we can respond to that. So thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And for those of you that are, we'll see a couple of you tomorrow, but we'll see you in November for our Labour Market 2-1. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. See you soon. Chris, if you don't mind stopping the recording now, that'd be great. Thank you for your help, Chris.